Hello guys, today we're going to be working on this Whirlpool French door refrigerator. This is the compact version, so it's kind of small. And here is the model number on the display. Welcome to DIY Repair Now. Read all the warnings, and during this video you will see one or more of these icons to help you do this repair safe. So the complaint that we have is that it's not cooling properly or it's not cooling at all. The homeowner said that it's been plugged in for about an hour because they had it disconnected because it wasn't working fine before. So when we arrived, nothing was working except the lights. We only had lights inside the compartment and the refrigerator and the freezer. So at this point, we assume that it's on defrost mode or is something wrong with the main computer board. I put my multimeter, my tester, to read amperage, and it looks like it was not consuming any electricity whatsoever. So we're gonna go ahead and check the board because like I said, at this point is either the board or is just on defrost mode. So we don't want to lose any time because the defrost mode can take about between 20 to 45 minutes to finish. So while we wait, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the main computer board, and we're gonna look for any damage, any burn marks on the actual board to see if we get any signs that it could be the board. In my opinion, it's just on defrost mode because when you disconnect some of these models, when you disconnect them, it goes to a defrost mode when you plug the back in. That's just for safety. So I don't want to just wait, in case it's the board. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at it. Either way, if you have a problem with the board, this video will help you to replace the board. As you see, we have it apart. I'm inspecting all the connections and the board, make sure they plugged in right. I start tapping some of the relays to see if anything happens, but nothing happens. So at this point, we just assume that it's on defrost mode, and right there it just came on, and we realize that everything is working except the evaporator fan motor. As you see, it has condensation in the roof of the roof of the freezer compartment. So that's another indication that that fan motor is not working. As you see, the compressor and the condenser fan motor right there are working. You can even hear the compressor running. So we're gonna go ahead and concentrate and put everything back and start troubleshooting for a fan motor. Go ahead and disconnect the appliance to avoid electric shock. And like I said, we only take the board out just because we want to remove the possibility that there's anything wrong with the board. But in your case, just go ahead and wait about 20-30 minutes, no more than 45 minutes, and it should come on if you have this issue. Again, the most common thing on this type of refrigerator, it would be the evaporator fan motor, which is the one that goes inside and the freezer compartment. So 90% of the time, that's gonna be your problem if you have this Whirlpool model. It will happen in the same model in the top and bottom refrigerator because I worked on it before. So just keep that in mind. If you have a Whirlpool, go ahead and look for that fan motor. To be able to remove these trays, you would have to lose those screws. You don't have to remove all the screws all the way out. Just loose them up, and it has like a hook and the door. Just lift the door up and it will come right out. Like I said, you don't have to remove all the screws completely. To remove these drawers, these buckets or trays, however you want to call it, just move that to the side because it will release those clamps away. So you don't really have to do that with your hand. Just move it to the side like that and it will come right out. You do the other one the same way. As you see, you move it to the right or you move it to the left on the one on the left, and it will come right out. Now I put the door back on because I'm going to remove the whole mechanism out. So you can do it either the same way or just leave the door off. Once you remove those trades. And as you see, it has some clamps, but besides the clamps, it's not coming out. So we're gonna look to see if we have any screws. Sometimes it does not have any screws securing anything, just those clamps. But in some models, they do put screws. I don't want you to run in the same situation, so go ahead and look for the screws. And there we find one Phillips screws. Go ahead and remove the two screws that are holding this rail bracket, like so. Once you remove the screws, as you see, it's coming out. Sometimes it's hard. That's why I put the door back on. And just move it to the side once you get it all the way out. Now we're gonna remove the long 1/4 screws that are holding these racks in place, these rails in place. And we're gonna move them out of the way. Whatever you put them, try to put it on the same pattern, like you see right here. The one on the left goes on the left and the one on the right goes on the right. That way you don't get confused later. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the ice maker. And we're gonna lose the screws for the ice maker on the top. You only gotta remove the one on the bottom just to remove the ice maker. Once you remove the ice maker, you can screw in the two screws that you have right there, or you can get them out. And I will show you in a minute. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the screws that are holding the back panel. And as I was saying, there's two more screws that are holding that vent right there. So right here, I'm screwing in the screws for the ice maker and removing the screws for the vent. And I will show you in a minute why you would have to screw those screws for the ice maker and all get them out. As you see, this is the fan that is not working. It's not stuck or anything, but this is kind of electrical fan and it goes bad in the inside. I'll show it to you in a minute. And you will push the harness for the ice maker in, and this is a ground wire. This is a very important wire that you have to remove and install it back again once you finish with the repair. And as you see, I'm trying to remove the panel and those screws for the ice maker are on the way. So you either push them in, screw them in, or get them out of the way. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the fan motor housing, which it has some wires on the top, and you will see how it comes out. Once you got it out, go ahead and try to remove all those wires that goes in top of this housing. It's very self-explanatory. Just try to take pictures before you remove any wiring, and that way you remember how they were and where they were. As you see, trying to do anything with one hand. I got a very tight spot. Now we have the ground cable, which is the green. That's for ground. Okay, just remove the green cable and release the harness for the fan motor. This is the fan motor that needs to be replaced, and this is the new fan motor in the box. You will find a link in the description of this video for this part. So there's the part number as well. Now we're going to go ahead and open the box, and we're going to go ahead and start installing the new fan motor in the housing. As you see, brand new. This is an OEM part from Whirlpool. Okay, and at this point, we're just going to go ahead and verify that everything else is fine. We're just checking the heat element right there, and we're just checking for ohms. Like I said, that is not a common part, but we're just checking, make sure it's fine just to be on the safe side. And it's giving us ohms, and ohms with beep. So if you hear the beep, that means that heat element is fine. And now we're gonna go ahead and press these tabs for the back secure bracket for the fan motor. And like I said, just grab like a needle nose, clip it together, and it will release from the housing. As you see, press and release. That's very simple. Just try to be careful, don't hurt your hands. Try to use gloves because you can hurt yourself with those needle nose. And there you go, that's how it goes. Now we're gonna remove the blade, the fan blade, like so. And this is the new fan motor. We're gonna remove this little rubber supports from the old fan motor, and we're gonna put them on the new fan motor. Once we got it in place, we're gonna go ahead and put the blade on, push the blade, try to check how the other one was installed, and just try to push it in the same way the other one was. Not too much, not too loose, because it can fall from the fan motor tip. We put the back bracket and we clamp it in place. You hear the clicking noise. That's when it's secure. And this is the new fan motor. Like I said, the other one looks just fine, but internally something happens and it wasn't working anymore. Now we're gonna go ahead and manage to install this fan motor and fan motor housing in place, and we're gonna have to put all the wiring the way it was. Now remember, this is kind of a tight spot, so just bear with me here because I'm doing this repair by myself and I'm trying to deal with the situation. This is a 1/4 screw, so you can use your drill or a screwdriver and just look for the hole where the 1/4 screws goes to secure this in place. You will have to manage and deal with the tight spot, but this is just part of the repair. At this point, we haven't run in any complications. And like I told you, just secure the wiring the way the other one will. Just follow the video and it will help you to do it. Or like I said before, take pictures, because that will help you in remembering where all those wirings go. Now we're gonna go ahead and plug in our fan motor and make sure it clips in place. Make sure it's secure. If it doesn't clip, don't worry about it. Just put like a zip tie to hold the harness in place, or some black tape. One thing that I forgot is to plug in this ground wire before I put the fan motor in place. So if you remember, go ahead and put this wire before, because otherwise you can see right there how I'm running a little bit of a drama, a little bit of complication right there. Not a big deal, as you see right there. And where it's supposed to. Now we just fix your cables around, and we're gonna go ahead and start installing this back panel back in place. Sometimes just deal with the situation. There is a thermistor on the right hand, I pointed out right there. You can just go back on the video, and this is the ground wire for the panel. Remember, this wire is very important to be there in case of a shortage. And this is the harness for the ice maker. Again, just deal with the tight spot. I'm leaving pretty much everything that I'm running into it. That way it will be easier for you guys. As you see, those screws for the ice maker still getting in the way, and the thermistor and the other one. Now over here, I'm gonna point something out right quick, and is that this panel in the bottom, I got it inside of a drain pan. And I'm leaving a slow motion, that way you guys can see how I align that tubing for the ice maker. Just put your finger in and it will bring it back where it should. I'm gonna do it again right now. As you see, it's not gonna align perfect, so just put your hand, your finger, and you can align it through that hole. And this is what I was telling you guys, that I didn't remember if this panel was inside that drain pan on the bottom. I'm gonna show you a footage right now what I'm talking about. So I have to grab my camera and go back and try to see how this panel was installed. This is where the screws wasn't aligned correctly. It was kind of hard to put the screws, so I noticed that this, I had it in the wrong spot. So in case you do the same thing, this video will help you. It's not supposed to go inside the metal drain pan, it's supposed to go outside. So over here, I'm adjusting it again. This is something that you might run into it. And as you see now, I put it outside the drain pan, not inside the drain pan. I'm aligning everything again. And this is the kind of thing that you might run into it. So that's why I leave everything in here, because I work in the field. This is not a shop where I do all these videos for you guys. This is me and the field in people's houses. So once you got it in place correctly, just go ahead and start installing the screws. Sometimes those screws it's not going to align the way it should be. Sometimes you're going to have to use your drill, or sometimes you're going to have to use a screwdriver because your drill, it doesn't fit on the spot. As you see, I have a thermistor right next to it, so the drill wasn't working the way it's supposed to, and I had to use my screwdriver with a 1/4 bit. Now we're going to go ahead and install the vent. This is very important to put it in there because this is the one has the channel to throw air into the refrigerator compartment. Now this piece has some tabs and it should clamp in place. You'll hear like a little clicking sound. As you see, it stays on by itself because it clamps in the bottom clamps. Now we're going to go ahead and install the longer screws. Goes in this gray vent, and that's how it's secure. Now we're going to go ahead and drill out a little bit for the ice maker. You don't have to remove it all the way out because the ice maker has some kind of male to female connection where if it sticks out, it will go right there and it will hold it in place until you screw it in. Go ahead and plug in the harness, wiring terminals, however you want to call it, and go ahead and install the tubing where it should be. Once you got the ice maker in place, secure the bottom screws and then secure the two top screws for the ice maker. Now I plugged it in and I can feel the fan motor is running the way it's supposed to. It's working beautiful. At this point, we're pretty much done. We just gotta go ahead and put all the things that we took apart back in place. You can hear the fan motor right there. And now we're gonna go ahead and install these rails and these channel rails back in place. Remember, this is all 1/4 screws, one on the top, one on the bottom. And now we're gonna go ahead and install the rails and the two screws that secures these rails in place. Make sure it goes all the way in into it clamps, and the two clamps in each side. You can see right there that it goes above the clamp, and you're gonna know if you got it all the way in when you put the screws. If the screws goes in, that means you got it in the right spot. We're gonna go ahead and put the one on the left. And as you see, I still push it in because sometimes it needs a little bit, another push right there. Now it's closing right. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the door again to be able to install those trays. Once you get the trays back in place, go ahead and install the door again. Remember, you don't have to remove the screws all the way out. Just loose them up and it will go in those hooks. There's hooks in the bottom and there's hooks in the top. Once you got them in place, just go ahead and adjust them, drill them in, tie them up. And at this point, we're pretty much done. We're gonna go ahead and install all the trays there was removed. Okay, at this point, we're pretty much done. We've got airflow on the refrigerator side as well. If this video helped you in any way, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.